In 1993, a locksmith walked out of a Las Vegas casino vault with $4 million and no alarm ever sounded. For 16 years, one man held a device that could open almost every slot machine in Nevada. Casinos rebuilt their security twice. They never found the hole, because the hole wasn't in their cameras or their guards. It was inside the locks they trusted every single night. His name was Tommy Carmichael, though inside Nevada's underworld of cheats, he was known simply as the Locksmith. He didn't gamble for luck. He engineered it. Before Vegas, he was a small-time hustler who learned that every machine, no matter how advanced, still had a mechanical heart. And every mechanical heart had a key. In the early 80s, slot machines still relied on simple internal switches. Tommy discovered that a bent guitar string slid through the coin slot could trip the payout lever directly. It was crude. It worked. He called it the slider. Casinos called it a mystery because on their cameras, nothing looked wrong at all. The slider made him thousands, but Tommy wanted more. He met a partner in prison, a fellow cheat named John Vaccaro, and together they built something sharper. A device called the monkey paw. A bent metal rod with a hooked wire threaded into the machine's payout chute. It didn't trick the machine. It reached inside and simply took control. By the mid-80s, casinos across Nevada were bleeding money and had no idea why. Machines that should have paid out once an hour were paying out constantly. Technicians blamed faulty wiring. Managers blamed bad luck. Nobody suspected that one small tool, carried in a coat pocket, was quietly draining an entire industry, one machine at a time. Then came the tool that made him a legend, the light wand. A tiny flash of light, aimed at the machine's optical sensor, could confuse it into registering coins that were never dropped. No wires, no metal, just light. It worked on nearly every optical slot machine in the state, and for years, nobody could explain how the jackpots kept happening. Casino surveillance teams grew paranoid, tearing apart machines that had paid out too often. They found nothing because the light wand left no trace. Tommy studied their patrol schedules like a professional. He knew when cameras rotated, when guards changed shifts, when pit bosses looked away. He wasn't lucky. He had simply mapped their blind spots better than they had. By the late 80s, Tommy and Vaccaro's crew had hit machines in nearly every major casino on the Strip. Estimates from investigators later suggested losses climbing past several $1 million. They weren't just cheating machines anymore. They were running a business, recruiting operatives, training them on the wand, splitting profits like any criminal enterprise with a payroll. Nevada's Gaming Control Board finally noticed the pattern spanning dozens of casinos. They formed a task force dedicated entirely to what they now called electronic cheating. Investigators pored over payout logs, hunting for statistical impossibilities, but Tommy always stayed one invention ahead. By the time they identified the light wand, he had already moved on to something new. That something new was the monkey's paw's successor, a computer chip reader small enough to hide in a money clip, capable of reading and rewriting a slot machine's internal memory. This wasn't cheating a machine anymore. This was hacking one. Years before most casinos even understood their slot floors were computers at all. For a while, this chip reader felt unbeatable. But success made the crew careless. Operatives spread across state lines, hitting casinos in Atlantic City, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Wider reach meant more witnesses, more security footage, more chances for one mistake. Federal agents from the FBI's Organized Crime Division began quietly cross-referencing suspicious jackpot patterns across multiple states. In 1996, that one mistake finally came. A casino technician in Missouri caught an operative fumbling the chip reader mid-insertion, the device slipping visibly on camera for the first time in over a decade. It wasn't Tommy himself, but the arrest cracked the crew's silence. One operative talked, then another. The name Tommy Carmichael surfaced for the very first time. Federal agents built a case slowly, careful not to spook a man who had evaded capture for 16 years. They tracked hotel records, wire transfers, and old prison connections back to Vaccaro. Slowly, a paper trail emerged, linking a quiet locksmith's workshop to jackpots in 9 different states. For the first time, the man behind every impossible payout had a face on file. In 2001, agents finally raided Tommy's workshop, seizing dozens of custom-built devices, blueprints, and modified machine parts. It was the largest cache of slot cheating technology investigators had ever recovered in a single operation. Tommy Carmichael was arrested, and for the first time in 16 years, the tools that broke Nevada's casinos sat locked inside an evidence room instead of a coat pocket. He pleaded guilty and faced federal charges for conspiracy and fraud, receiving a prison sentence far shorter than the fortune he'd taken. Casinos, embarrassed by how long he'd operated undetected, quietly overhauled slot machine security nationwide, replacing optical sensors and mechanical locks with sealed digital systems that no simple tool could reach again. 16 years, 4 states of technology, and one man proved that no vault, no camera, and no algorithm is safer than the humblest, most trusted point of entry. Today's casino floors run on sealed chips and encrypted firmware, built specifically to answer him. But every industry believes its lock is finally unbreakable, right until someone finds the next key.